Hello everybody, and here we are, first Sunday of February, and I have lived through a month of stash busting. So welcome to episode 2 of this SABLE project. Before I dive in, my hair is wet. I've just had a cold shower. We are sweltering in Melbourne. It's 39 degrees. I think now, I'm just looking outside, it's still blue skies, it's 8:30 in the evening, hanging out for a cool change, because boy, oh boy, I haven't left the house today, it's just too hot. So in saying that, we'll just soldier on, and you might hear the wind, but that's welcome, by the way. And before I dive into what I've been up to, I wanted to say thank you to a few new people that have joined me on this journey. Welcome, hello, those of you who've come back to check my progress, thank you for the support, and we'll move on from there. And so I'm sitting at a weird angle because the door's over there and I've opened the window, maybe some cool air will come in, and that's all I'm going to say about it. So to quote my mother, it's hot, so what? Before I do the SABLE project and my progress on that, I just wanted to show you this and do a little thank you, which I forgot to do last time, so I'm sorry I didn't say thank you last time. Yaline. I have an auntie in Bloemfontein in South Africa, and when I visit my mother in Namibia, I generally go and spend some time with my auntie. And I've made a friend in Bloemfontein who runs a podcast called the Lekker podcast. The lekker is the word that South Africans use for practically anything. It's just a word for something lekker, something nice and wonderful, and if you had a good time, somebody will ask you and you go, oh, it was lekker. So the Lekker podcast, if you are a South African living abroad and you're into knitting and crochet and you want a little bit of homegrown talk, go and check her out. She's really lovely. But so I digress. I went to visit her. She came to visit us, actually, came and have some tea at my auntie's house, and she brought gifts. And she brought me a sock set from a company called Naughty Habits, which is a South African indie hand-dyed yarn. So there is, it is, of course, I don't have my glasses, oy vey. It was dyed for their sock club. So it's a fingering 3-ply, 75 merino, 25 nylon, and I love the color. Definitely going to make socks for myself. And it's got a mini, so the cuff, heel and toes I'll make in the mini. So thank you, Yaline. I'm really looking forward to using that. And also with that came a lovely little project bag, also made by what's the name? This is Teresa Yarns. I don't know if that's not the same company, but anyway, so it's going to live there because they came together. And she brought more yarns which I gave to my mum. And then there's also this beautiful ball of yarn from Karoo Moon. We do actually get Karoo Moon in Australia, do we? I think there's a distributor up in Sydney. And this one's also fingering, kid mohair, mulberry silk, merino wool, and polyamide. And it's how many meters is it? I wonder, I might make myself a Sophie scarf out of this for this winter. Don't often wear colors like this. It's a kind of a grey blue, like a dove grey, no, maybe not, more leaning towards blue, but it's bluer on screen than it is in real life. So this might become a Sophie scarf. So on the whole, donkey Yaline. I will certainly use this. I'm traveling March, April, and I think this might be my travel project for my long haul flights. And I'll see you anyway, because I'll be in Bloemfontein in April. So thank you very much. Okay, so now to the SABLE project. I have my notebook today, and this was such an interesting exercise because I kind of just jumped in without very much thought, and I wrote down for my first episode, the SABLE project, so I've got all my notes there, what I was going to do and talk about. And the reason for me doing this is just to keep me accountable, so I don't, because I'm like a magpie. Ooh, shiny thing, give me that, let me buy that, I want this, I want that, and then you look again and you're stuck with way too much stuff. So the way I did it was I made like a weekly timetable. So I did it like this, right? So I wrote down the first week I went, so knitting, crochet, knitting, weaving, sewing, knitting, crochet. Can you see my little register there? Well, that doesn't work. I tried it. It doesn't work. I kind of decided I'll do a knitting project and I'll knit on it for as long as I feel like, and then I'll do a crochet project and I'll crochet on that for as long as I feel like. As a result, I think I only wove once, because when I show you what I got into, it just took up all my time and it was fantastic. So yeah, so I've changed the way I'm going to do it. Where I'm not going to do one night this, one night that, one night this, one night that, because it's just, for me it doesn't work. For somebody else it might work, but I can't deal with that kind of structure. The mere fact that I'm doing the SABLE project in the first place is just enough structure that I can deal with. No more structure than that. So let me show you what I've done. I'm actually really impressed with myself, I have to tell you. Wow. Okay, so we'll go back to George from the book. Remember this book? Remember this book that I showed you last time? So I finished George and I finished his outfit, and I knitted the duffel coat from the owl to go along with it. So I did the duffel coat as well. So let me show you George. Oh, you know, George, he's adorable. I'll undress him as we go, because the poor guy is about to spontaneously combust, I have to tell you. It's so hot. But the thing I wanted to point out was, can you see the pants? Okay, George, you can take this off, dear. I'll just take the duffel coat off. There we go. So this is all of George, right? So he has his little neckerchief. But what I wanted to point out was the pants here, where I started in the red. I mean, because it's a stash busting project, I have to stash bust. So when as I was coming down this leg, I thought, I'm going to run out of yarn. Now, instead of like knitting the green until I run out of the green and then just go straight into the red, which would very obviously mean that I'd run out of yarn, I turned this into like a planned design feature. So it doesn't look so bitty, right? So that's his jumper. And then these little buttons here, can you see how they've popped open? I'm going to tell you about that in a second, because I made a rookie mistake here, a very rookie mistake. I should have known better, but I'll talk about that in a second. So that was that. So George got done all in his outfit that he's wearing in the book, and then I think I mentioned that I was going to knit the duffel coat as well, which I did. I I did buy duffel buttons. I didn't have duffel buttons in my collection, and somehow it just had to have duffel buttons. Plus, I learned something which I didn't know. So you have these little loops where the button goes through. But what I did learn, and I didn't know this, was that a duffel button actually functions like this. So you have loops like you have on the other side, but you thread the loop through the button, and then you secure the loop. Oh, so I learned something new. I didn't know that. I thought the loop just went over the button, and then that's how it is. Anyway, so never too old to learn anything. It's a cute little jacket. Oh, I must mention, I dropped the tail. So my mate doesn't have a tail. I can't. It just looks weird. Didn't like it at all. So George now has his full outfit and a winter jacket to go with it. So I finished him, and that was great fun. Where am I going to put him now? I'll just pop him over here. And then I went on to make Tilly. Ooh, I'm so excited about Tilly because, God, she's gorgeous. I love her. I absolutely love her. She's got cute as anything little French knickers on with a little lace detail over there. Oh my Lord! And she kept her tail because, oh, so sweet. Little jacket. The dress is really, really sweet. Knitted from the top down. Once again, stash bust everything. I didn't have to buy anything. So a little top down Fair Isle yoke cardigan with carrots. It's supposed to be carrots, but I didn't want to put orange with this color scheme. It didn't work. And that's the little dress. Is that not darling? And this little detail stitch is just the easiest stitch to master, and it's so effective, right? So that's her little dress. Look at that. And of course, her shoes are everything. Isn't that sweet? So that was Tilly. The hair, I'm really happy that I made her. She actually got another little jacket, and then I had a little piece of Liberty print somewhere in my stash, and I'm not the biggest fan of Liberty. I know everybody. Oh my God, Liberty. It's a little bit too floral for me, but this particular print is just so pretty. So she got a skirt, and with that skirt comes this this little t-shirt, which I got from another book, which I'm going to tell you about. Oh, lost my mind. So that's Tilly, and her and what's his name? George are hanging out at the moment together. And so talking about that book, right? I mean, this is the book that I'm working out of to get rid of all my stash. And I just thought I'd mention that I'm now knitting this little ensemble for George. I'm not knitting any more of the animals because I don't have enough yarn of one type of yarn to do a whole animal, and I don't want to do something ugly. I don't know. Sorry. I mean, I know but you can stash bust and still keep some level of aesthetic going. So I don't have enough of anything else to make another animal. Right, so that little ensemble I'm busy with over here. So he's going to have, that's his jacket with the beginning of the tie. That's going to be his little shirt. And then the waistcoat is going to be in that green, and then the shorts are going to be in this purple. And if I've got enough green left over, which I doubt I will have, I might make him a pair of green shoes to go with his ensemble, but I'm not sure about that. Anyhow, So I love this book. I love it, I love it, I love it. And I was in the shop the other day, and this lady came, one of our customers came in and said her kids are wanting her to, her grandchildren want her to knit these particular animals. Oh, same designer. I mean, winning. The animals are all the same. So that little T-shirt that I showed you from that I made for Tilly is from the rhinoceros, and I'm so gonna make this rhinoceros. Just look at him. Oh my Lord. This book, if I'd seen this book before that one, I would have bought this one. They're obviously both beautiful, but the rhino, so there are 3 front runners in this book. I don't like the girl's clothes so much, so I've already marked him. He's definitely going to be made, 100% for sure. And what was the other one? The giraffe as well. I think she's amazing, but I don't like her dress. Look, it's like me. I'll have to do something else. And then the one that made me lose my mind completely. Lose my mind. But seriously, I just thought, oh, is him. Like he did it, and I thought, no, I have to buy this book. So, in Melbourne, we have a craft book company called Can Do Books, run by Stephanie and her family. The best craft bookstore ever. Anyway, I jumped on the phone right away, ordered it straight away, and now I have it. But this book here, it's going to be for me a reward for working through my stash, because I want to buy the actual yarn that the designer uses in this book. And I'm definitely going to do the zebra, definitely going to do the rhino, going to do the giraffe, but I'm going to dress her differently. And the other thing I can do is I can dip into this book to make clothes for George and Tilly. I'm super excited about that. I'm so happy I got this book. So it is knitted hand, well, wild animal friends. I'm seeing it back to front by the same designer that did the other animal book that I'm working from. So if you're interested at all, call Stephanie at Can Do Books and get one. Oh, it's so cute. Okay, so that's those guys. And then, remember this book that I told you about, the Knit Foxy and Friends, that I thought, these don't turn me on the way those do, but I really need to make one of them, because it says that it's for beginners. So I want to do a proper review and let beginners know that, yeah, you can go for it. So I've decided to do one, actually, I've decided to do, oh, there are a few things in this book that I marked. Okay. So first of all, the illustrations come first, and all the patterns are in the back. That was the one thing. Then I spotted something in the back here. Oh, you see, now I have forgotten something. The pom-pom maker. Do yourself a favor and buy the Clover pom-pom makers. They are seriously the best pom-pom makers. No cutting cardboard, no any of this stuff going on here. Just look it up and look at the Clover pom-pom makers and use those. They are brilliant. Then the other thing that I noticed was there's actually a mistake in the book, namely this one here, the 3 knit 3 together. So just pay attention if you are considering getting this book, that's a mistake. That's completely a mistake, and so the wording over here doesn't make sense. Knitting 3 together is exactly the same as knitting 2 together, except you're taking 3 stitches. Okay, so just be careful of that. And if you're a beginner, those kind of things are the things that scramble beginners' brains. I'm sure that there's an errata on the website. There normally is, but other than that, let me just go for it. What was over here? No, that was the pom-pom maker. And oh yeah, I have decided again. I'm going to make the chair, because why not? But I'm going to make it like a really hobbit-like chair with all different kinds of colors and things like that. And I've decided that to try out, I think was it the bear? I think the bear is the only, once again, I have a problem with the tails. I don't know what it is, but I just don't like them. Let me see, let me find the patterns and then I'll show you. They just look weird. When you see them from the back, you'll see what I mean. There. No. So what I'm going to do is, I thought I'm going to do the bear. I'm going to do banjo and clothes to go with him, just to check the instructions and things. Don't know if I've got enough yarn. I might have enough black yarn actually, and then I'm going to make him, and my mother will be happy because she's always wanted to make a black bear. So that's that. I won't be bringing this book out again up until I've done all the other things. So that was that lot of stash busting. And then I did some more stash busting, and I knitted up this little cardigan, sort of sleeveless, 3 to 6 month old, and this one as well, also 3 to 6 months old, exactly the same cardigan, except with this one I did a knit front back increase, and with this one I did a yarn over increase, so you've got this little lace detail. And I think now is as good a time to explain to you about the buttons. And it's again off the back of a young girl who was in our store, and her buttons kept popping open or something like that. And I said to her, you know, what you need a button with a shank. And she said, what's that? And I thought, okay, I'll remember to mention that. So a button with a shank is a button that looks like that, and it's got a shank. That's a shank button. Now, with knitwear, those are the buttons you should use, because if you think about it logically, this is a certain thickness, right? And it has to sit in under the button, so that when you close it, there's space between the top of the button and the button band. Can you see there? Now this button's never going to pop open. And that's when I said about George, those little buttons kept popping open because I forgot to put a shank. And now if you have buttons that have a shank, so most knitwear, I would say, try and find a button with a shank, because that'll stop the button from popping open. If you find a button, however, that you're completely in love with and it doesn't have a shank, you can make a shank. So, see what I've done there? That button's sitting proud from the fabric. So basically what you do is you put a matchstick or a Q-tip or some thin needle, you know, a bamboo needle or something underneath the button, and then you sew the button on over that, whatever you're using, and then you wrap the yarn around that little space that you've created by putting the spacer, let's call it a spacer, and then that button sits proud, and when you close the button, there's space underneath the button, so it doesn't, there's no stress there or anything, so the button doesn't keep popping open. If any of you who are watching want me to show you, I'll do a little tutorial. Just drop it in the comments if it's I'd love to do a tutorial, and then I can show you how to make a shank. So that's so, but for the future, if you need buttons for your knitwear, look out for buttons that have shanks, and that'll make it much easier for your cardigan or whatever to actually stay closed and not keep popping open. All right, so I did those two. Those are also stash. So I wanted to show you my little basket. Remember last time it was bulging, and I think it's I know it doesn't look like it, but it's actually, I should have weighed it. I should have weighed it before. Okay, I'm going to weigh it this week, and then I'll weigh it again for the next project, and we'll see how much, but I've used up a lot. Okay, so what were the other things? And then I sewed one thing. I just couldn't get into it, and it was so bad. I was so horrified because my machine did not come out last year at all, because of the Bruce Lee movie situation. And I thought, okay, I'll do Nicholas's sleep shorts, like I think I told you about this last time. And I sewed them, and I turned them the right side out, and I thought, what are the pockets doing on the outside? Can you believe it? I want you to know I'm actually qualified to do this. I studied to do this. What? I felt so embarrassed, laughed at myself, undid the whole thing, and then made the shorts. So these are that's the mushroom fabric, and it's got a drawstring. It's got a mock fly. It doesn't have a proper fly, and with the drawstring, so I managed those. There we go. So those can go to Nicholas now that I've shown those to you. I'm happy, and they feel nice. He'll like those. With the mushrooms on. My other sewing I didn't get going at all. Mainly because. But my other reason is that the whole outfit is grown. So remember, it was supposed to be just that dress out of the comic strip fabric. And I knew I didn't have enough to make it long. I'm not really a dress person, skirts and dresses are like, but then I found my favorite pair of pants, my favorite pair of pants in the world. I love these pants. I've got at least 3 pairs. And I went out and I bought some gingham check. So I'm going to make a shorter version of that. Make some gingham check pants to go with it, and then and a t-shirt to go underneath that, because nobody wants to be exposed to those arms. So the t-shirt, the t-shirt is like 90% finished. It's got 3/4 sleeves, got a low neck, and yeah. So this month I might spend a little bit more time sewing and weaving, because I didn't do any weaving either. I might have done, I'm on my loom at the moment, sorry. I might have done maybe about 30 or 40 centimeters, but that's about it. No weaving. And then, here we go. Sewing up your knitwear. These things are magic. Okay. Look out for them. They work fabulously when you have to sew up your knitwear. Just thought I'd mention that. And then my crochet project. Oh, it's so cute. My son's best friend and the best friend's fiance, they're having a baby. And I've been umming and ahhing, and I know it's a little girl. So my crochet stash busting is now this, and it's so exciting. So I made her, this is Lala, okay, with a cute little hat. So that's Lala. And then her best friend is Sweetie, the unicorn. He goes everywhere with her. He's got a backpack, and he's got a backpack for a very, very good reason, because they go on long adventures and walks, and I'm busy working on their story, and it'll be ready by the end of this month. I just have to wait for the next full moon so that I can finish the story. So that's Sweetie. And Sweetie and Lala found a little dog wandering around all by himself. And this is him. His name is Mustard. And the reason why Sweetie has a backpack is because Mustard has got very short legs and can't always manage all the adventures that they go on. So when he gets really tired, then he sits just a second. He hangs out in Sweetie's backpack and watches the world go by. So there we go. That's why they need to have a backpack. So I enjoyed this project so much. Anyway, so look out for the little story that goes along with those two, and then once I've written the story, they can go and live with their new owner. And their new owner, little girl, is due in May. So this is really a present for much later on in her life to go with the story. But now, yeah, they can start to live in her room now already. So those are those two. And you know what? I think that's it. Let me check my notes. Whew, I'm starting to perspire now. Oh la la. Yep, so for next month, I'm busy listening to a book called A Short History of the World According to Sheep by Sally Coulthard. It's fantastic. I love it. And that's about it. You know, I haven't done a lot of reading. I've just been basically working on the things that I showed you. So for next week, not next week, next month, the first Sunday of next month is on Sunday the 3rd of March. I will be preparing to go away for about 4 or 5 weeks, and I'm going to prepare things to work on while I'm away. I'm hoping this month to finish the sewing projects that I showed you. Oh, sorry. And definitely going to carry on working on the animals. I will, when I'm finished here, I'll go off and weigh that big bag of yarn, and then we can weigh it next time, and we'll see how much yarn I've actually used up. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for supporting me. And I will see you the first Sunday of next month. And if you want me to do that tutorial about sewing on buttons for knitwear, please just ask me in the comments, and sometime during this month I'll get around to doing that for you, only with pleasure. Okay, so have a lovely month. I hope you enjoy making things, and thank you to all the new viewers. And it's getting quite dark outside now. I think it's marching towards 9 o'clock. I'm going to go and have another cold shower, see if I can cool down, have something to eat, and yeah, I think that's it. Be well, and I'll see you in a month.